Hi everyone, welcome to Melissa's Home Cooking. Today I'm going to show you how to make wonton noodles. Wonton noodle is one of the popular street food in Asia and also especially in Malaysia. In Malaysia, growing up, we call wonton noodles wonton mee. So you can get wonton noodles in two different versions. You can have it dry with sauce or you can have it in soup. Same thing with the wonton, you can have it boiled or fried. So today I'm going to show you both methods of how to do the wonton noodles. So we have here in front of us for the chicken broth, we have 1 kilo of chicken frame, 1 carrot, 1 bunch of the spring onions, 1 tablespoon of black peppercorn, 1 large onion cut into quarters, and 2 teaspoons of chicken stock powder. That is for making the chicken broth for the wonton noodle soup. And then for the wonton fillings, we have here about 600 grams of chicken breast cut up into cubes and 300 grams of prawns cut up into cubes as well. We're going to mince that in the food processor, and then all the ingredients for the filling. We have here 1 egg white, 2 teaspoons of sesame oil, 1.5 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 4 teaspoons of light soy sauce, 1/2 onions minced, about 4 cloves garlic minced, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of chicken stock powder. That's for the fillings. And for the chicken breast, we're going to garnish it with chicken breast on the top of the dried noodles. You can also use it for the noodle soup. Typically, wonton noodle uses pork, but as my family prefer to have chicken, we're having chicken today instead of the pork. Then we have, of course, the wonton wrapper. Wonton wrapper, you can get it at the Asian shop. You can find it two different types. This is the thin wonton wrapper, and they have the thick one as well. Typically, you use the thin one for soup and the thick one for frying. But again, my family prefer the thin one, so I'm using the thin one for both methods. And then we have the fresh wonton noodles you can get at the Asian shop as well. And then we're going to do the mushroom sauce. So I use the canned mushroom. Of course, you can use the dry mushroom as well. I use the mushroom in the can, just slice them up. And then we have about 1 cup of water. That is to make the mushroom sauce, and about 1/2 tablespoon of corn flour with 2 tablespoons of water. Mix it into the cornstarch water. Then we have about 3 cloves of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of chicken stock powder, 1.5 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 2 teaspoons of light soy sauce. So that's for the mushroom sauce. And for garnishing comes with it, we're going to make green chili. This is a fresh green chili. You just slice them up. I'm going to pickle this green chili to go with the noodles. Normally you serve it green chili with soy sauce or by itself. So we have here about 200 grams of green chili, slice them up. About 400 ml of water, hot water, going to blanch that, and then about a cup of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Alright, that's for the green chili. We're going to pickle it. And then for the garlic oil, we have here about 12 minced garlic and about 6 tablespoons of cooking oil. There's 2 different methods of doing this, but I'm going to show you how to use the microwave method, which is nice and easy. And then we have the vegetable. Normally with wonton noodle, you would serve it with choy sum, another Chinese vegetable, but today I'm using Shanghai bok choy, and then the chopped up spring onion. Also, typically, like I said before, we use pork, but today I'm using chicken. Normally you will serve it with barbecue pork, slice it up and garnish on top for your noodles, but I'm using chicken instead. So let's get started by cooking the chicken broth first for the wonton noodle. So we're going to cook the chicken broth first. So in a pot, just boil 8 liters of water. Now it's boiled. We are going to add in the chicken frame. So add it all in. This will take about 1.5 hours, 1 to 1.5 hours to boil. And then I'm going to add in the carrot, onion, spring onion and pepper. So put it all in. So now we are going to do the green pickled chili. So in the chili bowl, just add in 400 ml of hot boiling water. We're going to blanch the chili for about 20 seconds. So it should be fine now. We're just going to take it out. So in the same bowl, we're going to add in the cup of vinegar, a teaspoon of the salt and a teaspoon of the sugar. Just going to stir everything in. Just going to add the chili back. And just let the chili soak there. And then you can just put it in an airtight jar and leave it in the fridge overnight and you can have it. So now we're going to do the garlic oil using the microwave. I'm going to microwave this for 4 to 5 minutes and stir every minute. Otherwise, you do not have a microwave, you can actually use a stove on a frying pan. Just put a bit of cooking oil and put the minced garlic in and just stir it on medium-low heat until it's golden brown. So now we're just going to do the filling for the wonton. I'm just going to use the food processor. If you do not have a food processor, you have to mince your chicken and your prawns by hand. See, it's all mixed in. Now, so we can take it out and transfer to the bowl and glad wrap and leave it aside in the fridge until we're ready to make the wonton. So now the chicken broth is boiled and all ready. As you can see, all the chicken frame is all falling apart. So now we're just gonna season the soup. Then add in the 2 teaspoons of chicken stock powder, about 1 teaspoon of salt and some pepper. So we can switch off the heat now and just sieve the chicken broth. So now the chicken broth is all been sieved. We're just gonna pour back this into the pot and leave it aside until we're ready. So now we're gonna wrap the wontons. So there's several ways to wrap the wonton. So you just carry on doing this until it's all finished. So now the wonton is all wrapped. Now we're going to boil the chicken broth again, and then in a separate pot we're going to boil water to cook the wonton, and also we're going to fry the wonton and for cooking the noodles and the vegetables. So while the water is boiling and the chicken broth is boiling, we're going to get the seasoning ready for the dry noodles. So for the dry noodles, we're going to use the sweet sauce, half a tablespoon of that per plate. Half of the dark soy sauce and half of the light soy sauce. that. And then we're going to use 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. And 1 teaspoon of the garlic oil that we have made. This is the garlic oil that I've made using the microwave. And then we're going to have some spring onion, and some pepper. So that's the seasoning ready. Now we're going to cook the mushroom sauce. So heat up the pot on high, and we're just going to add a bit of cooking oil in it. Add in the garlic. So we're cooking the mushroom sauce. Once the garlic is all light brown, we'll add in the mushroom and the oyster sauce and the soy sauce. And about half a cup of water. Chicken stock powder. Just gonna let it boil. In a separate pot, just boil the water. We're gonna cook the chicken breast and cut it thinly to garnish on top of the dry noodles and the wonton noodle soup. So now the pot is boiling. We're just gonna cook the chicken breast. So we're using chicken breast chicken instead of barbecue pork. Normally this dish traditionally will go with sliced barbecue pork, or char siu as we call it in Malaysian. Now the mushroom sauce is ready, it's boiling. We're just gonna add in the half tablespoon of cornstarch with 2 tablespoons of water so that we can thicken up the sauce. So just stir it, and we're just gonna add in a bit of pepper. Good. We're just going to taste if we need more sugar or salt. Okay, it's just nice as it is, so we're just going to switch it off and set it aside. Okay, so now the chicken is boiled. I'll just make sure that it's cooked, it's all white, and then we can turn off the heat, and we're going to leave it aside and slice it up. So now we're going to heat up the pan and we're going to fry the wonton. Heat up and put in your cooking oil. Our home we use coconut oil, so put about 3 tablespoons. So now we're going to put in the wonton. Just going to pan fry that. Okay, now the wonton is done. We just switch off the heat and cover the lid to keep it hot while we do the noodles. Now the pot of soup is boiled. We're going to boil all the wonton. So put it in. Coriander. Now you can just boil this and eat like that, but in this case I'm just going to put it in the chicken broth. I'm going to have wonton soup as well as wonton noodle. Just give it a stir, and I'm just going to put it in the chicken broth and let it boil. To cook the noodles and the veggie, make sure the pot of soup is boiling hot, and then you put in the noodles and give it a bit of stir, and together with that we can add in the vegetable. And then I'm going to rinse the noodle and the veggie in cold water. Take out any starch. And then we'll put it back in the hot water so the noodles is hot. And that's it. And we're just going to take it out. I'm going to do the dry noodles first. So take it out and put on the dry noodles. So we're just going to stir it. Stir in all the sauce. And then we're going to add in the mushroom sauce on top. And then we're going to add in the chicken. And then the fried wonton. So that's the dry one, and you serve it with your noodle soup. And just add in sprinkle of spring onion. And so this is a dry version. Now for the soup version, in a bowl, just put in your noodle. So that's the one with the wonton noodle soup, and just sprinkle a bit of. So that's your two different noodles. So here is guys, here's our wonton noodle. You have the dry version that you can serve with your wonton soup, and with the pickled chili that we did earlier. The pickled chili you can put it in a jar, and that can keep for weeks in the fridge. And then we have the wonton noodle soup just with the chicken broth and the boiled wonton. I hope you enjoyed today's cooking, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and I look forward to see you again next time.